Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and this amazing series. I'm Aditya. In this series we are creating an e-commerce store using Garchi CMS and Next.js. So without any further ado, let's continue. Okay, so in the last video we created this page actually, and we saw how to render the list of products. So I have done behind the scenes some quick UI changes. You could see, like in the left hand side, I have added this filter. It's not functional yet. We'll make this functional using our APIs, and also I'll show you how it works. And also I've changed the title here from products to courses. So if you see now, here we are having now product, then once we click on that product there will be its details, then the product details, and then there are like lots of components going for product in general. So what I have done is I have created inside the components folder a product folder. So this product folder will have our most of the products component. So here I have product list, which is nothing but our current product list, this one over here, this list. Then we have product card, which is nothing but over here, which is nothing but simple product card, like this. If you see this view image and then web app with view 3 and tailwind CSS and the price and all those things, that's the product card. Then we have product details. I'll go through over this once we reach that part, but let's see what do we have it in the filters. So in the filters we have categories. So here this part displays the categories. Then we have the title, sorry, not the title but the price. So we have price from low to high, high to low, so just arranging according to the price. Now currently in today's date, or till today's date, this Garchi API supports filters by either categories, by order of the price, or by the sellers. So let me show you in the documentation. So if I go to product and categories and then filter products, inside filter products you will see that I can filter using sellers. So list of sellers. So I want products only for specific sellers, then I need to pass their IDs, to be precise UIDs. Then the categories, then the categories IDs, then the price order, whether it's low, high or low, something like that. So what I have done here is I've kept the filters minimal. Sorry, that's our dashboard. Going back to this, so the filters are minimal, where we have categories and price order. The category is hard coded, so we need to get the categories from the server. So what I'm going to do is, if I go to API documentation again, let's keep it over here. So inside that we have get all categories, so we can get all categories for that store, or we could get all the categories for a particular seller. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the categories, so because I just want to place all the categories over here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go over here in our filter.jsx. So currently we have categories over here, so this thing would be again a for loop and getting all the categories for us. So let's do that quickly. Let's take const category list. So this is going to be our use state. And now what we are going to do is, so this is going to be an array. So what we are going to do is, once the component is mounted, like on the first instance we'll get the category and we just want that to run once. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say use effect. So use effect needs to be imported. That comes from our React. So here we will be passing a blank array. So just that it says that okay, this use effect is going to run just once. So what we want here is we want to just get the categories list once. Okay, now here, as I said before in the video, like if I haven't mentioned, sorry for that, the API tokens are used for billing. Okay, currently the it's free under a limited tier, but as I said, soon there will be subscription plan being rolled out. So in that case, you don't want to expose your API key. So in that case, what we could do is we can have this API calls on the server side, so that our API keys can be hidden, and then just get our data and render it. So what I'm going to do here is, as this Next.js has its own node server, so we can reuse that server. We don't need to create separate Express app or something like that and then have those APIs written there and then call again Garchi APIs and all those things. We don't need that. We just need to go with this API folder, which is inside pages, then API directory, and here if suppose I want the route, let's say get categories, So I just need to create a file here which says get categories.js. Simple. So now my API endpoint would be localhost, as I'm currently on localhost. So localhost :3000/API/get categories. Now if I go to hello.js, this is what we need. So we just need a handler function. So that handler function is going to make or run our function or handle our function. So let's copy this from here. Let's go to our get categories.js over here. Let's paste it over here, and don't forget to export this because we need to export this handler function. Now request refers to any parameters you're passing in the request. Currently we are not passing anything. Response, what response to? Send. So let's quickly make the API request. So here I'm gonna say const, let's make it actually async so that we can have await. Now here I'm gonna say const API response, and now if you remember we have this API.js here, so we just need to get this API object because it's using the same thing. So here what I'm gonna do is go back over here and I'm gonna say API dot, so let's first import this, so it's gonna come from assets, then I want to get request. Here I'm gonna use the base URL, so we already have the base URL, so I can just use the categories URL which says over here just categories/categories. So let's do that. So here inside get categories I'm going to say /categories, and then so this is going to be an async function, so we need to await for it. Then here we will have the categories equal to await API response dot data. Okay, now once we have these categories, let's display this category so we can see if everything is going correct. How to call this API? As I said, just simply using Axios on our front end, so we don't need to worry about that. Now what I'm going to do is if I go to our filter component, now here you will ask why not use get server side props or get static props, because that's the function, especially the get server side props, it runs on the server side, so why not just use that? Well, we are not using that because get server side props or get static props, they are related to the page component or a full page component. When it comes to sub component, you might want to use API route. So what I'm going to do here is, here I'm going to say now I cannot use this API route. So what I'm going to do is, this is my API which refers to Garchi API, but I'm going to take another export here, export const, this is my local API which refers to my Next.js API, and here I'm going to say axios.create. Now you can pass the base URL over here, or you can pass using the env variable or environment file. So what I'm going to do is, for now I'm going to pass it through here. So here I'm going to say base URL and /API. Okay, so that's our base URL. Now we just need to add / and whatever API route we want to call in. Now headers, here we are not passing any token, we don't need it because they are all in one ecosystem. So just I will keep a normal header of accept application JSON. That's it, simple. Now this local API we will be getting in our where is our filters? Over here. So here I'm going to say local API, local API, that's going to come from assets, that's right. Here I'm going to say local API dot get, because we want to make a get request, and that get request is going to go over here. Now by default all these API requests for the API routes are a get request, but you can also do them as a post request. So you just need to see the method is post, or there is something known as there is actually a good package to handle this get and post. So there are a couple of ways to make sure that you're making only a post request to a route, and you're making only a get request to a route. Let's first see the get request, and when we reach to the post request part, I'll tell you how we can do the post request specifically for that route. So here we are making a get request, so let's go back over here. I'm gonna say get categories, and this will be then gonna give me something which is gonna be a response. That response I will just console.log rest.data, or what I'm gonna do, Okay, so let's test this out again. So we have the categories, and now let's see if we can get the categories in the console. So if I just refresh this page, let's see in the console what do we get. So we are getting 500 server code. It says console.log. Of course we forgot the .log over here, so .log, and there we go. So if we see it again, let's give a quick refresh, go back over here, and there it is. So we need these categories. Okay, so we'll be putting these categories in our project. So let's go back to our filters. So here we need to send those categories. So here I'm gonna say, okay, we got the categories, that's great, perfect. So response.send, then here I can send the categories like this. Categories is equal to our categories dot data. Okay, that's great. Now next thing is we got the categories, so we'll get the categories over here, and then we can pass those categories to our set categories list. So here I'm gonna say whatever data I got, I want to set category list, sorry, it should be set category list, and that's gonna set the rest.data. So categories gone there, that's great. And here we need to use a for loop. So here I'm gonna say for each categories, so categories dot map, so actually categories list dot map, category what I'm doing category list dot map, and this should be a JSX syntax like this. So category list dot map, and then here I'm gonna say for each category we will be returning this thing, this list over here. So then we can say, okay, return this. Perfect. Now here I'm going to say that, okay, now this is rendered in a for loop, so we need a key for each of these. So here I'm going to say the key here, oops, that's a view syntax. So key here is category.id. Here as well as category.id. I'll tell you why we need category.id, or why we need the ID. And here the category name. So here it will be, let's quickly format this and let's see what do we have. So it says category list.map is not a function. So if we refresh, there we go. Categories are not seen here. Let's see why. One thing we forgot here is data.categories, because we are sending it in a key value pair. So now if we go back, there we go, we have our categories, and when we select one category we should now be able to filter this. So what I'm going to do now is, so if I go to the documentation again over here, if I go to the filter products, here it asks me the array. Currently I'm just taking one category at a time. I can make it as a checkbox, but let's keep it simply for simplicity radio button. So in this case I need to pass that category ID as an array. I cannot pass it as a single value. Then over here I need to pass the price order. So the accepted values are either low hyphen high or high hyphen low. So you can go low to high or high to low, ascending, descending. These two parameters we need to pass, and also we need to make sure that the categories is an integer array. So if I go back over here, so what I need to do now is, okay, I got the categories, I rendered the categories. Now once I change the category, so for that I have a use state which is set category over here, which is binded to our input radio button. So on change, so whenever we change our radio button, or wherever we select another category, then we have a new category value. Now whenever this category is changed, plus whenever the price is changed, we just need to send the API request. Now we can do this dynamically, like every time we change we can make API call, but it will be like a lot of API calls. Like suppose if someone is just randomly doing all those clicks here and there, so that means there will be a lot of API calls. So for that case, what I prefer is to have a button, and that button makes request to the or ask for the filtered products by taking all the filters at once rather than having one by one. So let's go back over here. Now this we have as a form where we have on submit, which runs an apply function. So that apply function for now is, we are just preventing the default behavior of the form, so that we don't want to go somewhere else, like don't know where we want to go. So we just want to avoid that. Then we want to pass our filter, so that will go from, because here if you see on the filter component we have a prop which is apply filter, which is just a function. That function is coming from our product list, sorry, index over here, because we have our filter on that index page. So index page has filter and the product list. Now why we are having this filter over here, or why are we asking to pass it as a prop? Well, we need to change these products. Okay, we need to change these products. Every time we filter it, we need to change it, and we need to render the new products. So how to do this? So now these products are nothing but the props. So by default they would be like one-way behavior. We generally, the props are read only. So how we can modify these props, like how we can deal with this? Well, it's pretty simple. What we need to do is, here we will say, we'll take a use state const and set product list, and by default this will be our products. Okay, and then we can pass this product list over here. Okay, let's see if this works. So if I go back over here again and refresh the page, everything works, nothing is broken. That's great. Now next thing is, we change the product list and we have the new products. Great. So what we need to do here is, okay, we need to pass that apply filter function here. So here I'm going to say function filter applied, that will take or get the payload from our filter component, and that will go over here. So this will be nothing but our apply filter prop, that's going to take our or run this filter applied function with the payload that's going to get. Now if you are coming from Vue.js background, or if you have used Vue.js before, you will see there is a way to emit events from parent to component, or child to parent. We emit it upwards. So in React, how we do it is, there are no events, but you can pass the functions as a prop. So suppose I want to run a function which is defined in a parent, I want to run it in a child component over here, I will simply pass that function as a prop. Now this function apply filter has become filter applied function, because I have set it as a prop over here. Now when it goes to this filter component over here, when it runs, so this apply filter, when it runs over here, it's not actually running, though the name is apply filter, it is running the apply filter function, but as we have passed over here filter applied function, so it is going to run the filter applied function with the payload that is going to get it's gonna receive. So here we are passing the payloads, so categories and price order. Now if you see these key values, so these key values are exactly what our API demands, which is over here in the filter, so price order and the categories. Now the next thing is, once we have this payload, we send it to our server, and at the server, which is our API actually, we will just filter the products. So here I'm going to make a new API which is going to be filter products. Going back to our product list, sorry, index.js. So here I can make that API call. So let's get first our local API dot. Now this is going to be a post request. If I go back over here, this is going to be a post request, and that's going to go for products / filter. That's fine. So post first, this is going to be our filter products. Now I can make a get request, because at the end this is going to make a post request. So like our API is going to make a post request, but to just show you an example how post requests are made with Next API, we'll use it as a post request. Now here I'm going to say response, whatever response we get, sorry for that, this is going to be our response, and we will just console.log rest.data, whatever the data comes. So let's say this is our data is products, and if there is no data, now we need to catch the error, because we need to make sure that this only accepts the get request. So here I'm going to say catch, all good, perfect. Now we also need to pass the payload over here, so I'm going to say payload like this. Okay, that's great. Now let's go back to our filter product.js. So we just need to have the same thing, export async function handler. It's going to take request response, gonna run a function. So first let's get the request body. So here I'm going to say console.log request.body. So we will see what parameters are passed. Next we'll make our API request here. First we need to also only accept the post request. So here I'm going to say if request.method equal to or not equal to post, then so we will have the terminating condition here. We are gonna say response.send. Here if I go back to get category, so here we are, sorry, status, we are sending 500. There we have to say some method not allowed status. So here I'm going to say status 405, and then if I want to send any message like how I'm sending here as a JSON message, so here I'm going to say JSON. So let's give it a try. So what I'm going to do here is so let's first try with the post request, and then we will go with the get request. Okay, so let's go back over here. Let's refresh this, and let's say I've selected this, I have selected this, great, and apply. Let's see. So we are having an error here. So it says here, so we just need this request, then we console.log request dot body, go back over here, or not here, here, and we will see that we are getting our request. That's great. Now let's send this request to our server, but currently we are making the post request. What if we are making the get request? So in that case, what I'm going to do is let's keep this below so that we will see if it's sending something, and from my filter over here, actually not filter, index over here, I'm going to make it as a get request. Okay, let's see what happens. So if I just see it in the browser, so if I just remove all of these, let's say I just make a normal request, it says method not allowed. Perfect, that's what we want. We want to say, okay, this is not allowed, you're not allowed to make a get request, you have to make a post request. Awesome. So now next thing we need to do is, so next thing we have here is where is that? Okay, so here everything is set. So we go back over here, make it as a post request again, and then make post request over API. So here I'm going to say, okay, all good. So const API response equal to await API. That's going to come from our assets API dot post. Now this is going to make API request to products filter, if I'm taking it correctly. All good, yeah, products filter, then the body, whatever body we have received, so request dot body. Now here we need to be aware that this is a post method, so probably there will be some validation error. So there might be validation error from the server side, or it's best to do it, let the API do the validation error. But if you want to have those validation on your side, you can always validate it over here, see the API documentation, and then before making a request you can just validate over here. So let's say like we are making this request. Now we need to do here try catch, because we need to make sure that if there is a validation error we are handling it. So here I'm going to say try error. All good. So then once we have the request, then we can say products equal to await API. Great. Now let's double check if it's gonna paginate our response. So it says it's list. Okay, so it's gonna paginate as well. So we need to be careful about the pagination. So here we cannot pass products.data, because data will only pass the result. We pass everything. So we say products. So because we might need the pagination links as well. So that's great. So we have response.send everything. Okay, great. Now first let's go over here and make a validation error. So as the API demands us to send the categories array, what I'm going to do here is when I'm sending the category, I'll send it as a single ID. Let's see what it says. So if I send it as a single ID, and now if I go back over here, refresh the page, let's say I'm asking for this category, then price of this. Okay, let's see what do we get over here. So you will see we are getting the error, the categories must be an array. So this error we can handle it from our side, like because this, if you see, we are not taking any specific user input. So we are taking the input in terms of like we are taking the input, but we are wrapping it from our side. So in that case, like there is nothing to show to the user. So here we just need to say if there is an error, then we just need to handle it in our code. So let's get back over here, let's put this over here, and let's go back over here to our API, which is filter products. So we are going to get the products, Once we get the product, we go over here to our index.js here, and once we go to index.js, we have the products filtered. Then we say here, okay, we got the products, everything is great. In case we got the error over here, filter products, then we can send the error here. We could say res.status. This could be any error, could be mostly the validation error, because generally when it goes to API for the post request, it could be validation error. Sometimes the server might be down, so in that case there could be another server error. So in that case, what I'm going to do is I'll just send the if I see the code over here, all good. So that's gonna give me the status code. This is gonna be our error. We are gonna say the error message is something went wrong. This is a generic message, but you can give the server message, so you can just pass it to the front end. So that's great. So products are there, everything is there. Let's go to index.js. We got the products which are over here. Product list, that's going to be res.data.products.data or data. So that should set our product list. So if I go back over here, refresh the page. Now let's say I just want it's already from high to, low to high. So let's say I want it from high to low. Apply. So there we go, we have the new product list. Now if I want only the web development one, so if I apply, so it didn't reach the error. Oh, we didn't alerted the error on the front end, that's fine. So now if I apply for the web development one, there we go. So we have the web development one. Perfect. So this is how we can have the filters using the API. So that's all in this video. In the next video, we will see how we can have dynamic routes by clicking on this product card, rendering the product detail, and see how we can go forward from there. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, and if you feel this video is worth sharing, please do share with your network. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Till the next time, goodbye.